I never fully appreciated California until we briefly relocated to Houston a few years ago. Even though I'm born and raised in Hawaii, I've basically spent my entire adult life in California. I spent 5 years in San Francisco when I was 18, moved to San Diego for a summer before moving up here to LA, and that's where I've been since 2010. But the truth about LA specifically is that it feels like you are dating someone fabulous and amazing, but very high maintenance. So I feel like outside of monetary things, which we're definitely talking about in this video, LA is also expensive at the cost of other things that aren't normally talked about. So if you're thinking of moving here, let's talk about the costs, both obvious and hidden, so you can decide whether or not it's worth it. And spoiler alert, it still is. So I have lived in nearly all parts of Los Angeles. I got my very first apartment in 2010 in Koreatown. I lived by the Grove. Brian, when we first met, lived in Burbank. And then when we first moved in together, we moved to Santa Monica for a summer, and then we went to Hollywood, and now we are on the east side. The cool thing is that there is a neighborhood for everyone. No matter what your interest is, what your activity level is, you will find a neighborhood in LA City that works for you. You just have to find it. But depending on where you end up, it will cost you. You know, everyone knows that the cost of housing in LA is high, and LA, if you watch the news at all, is very much struggling with the housing affordability issue, both as a renter and as a buyer. Those are very simultaneous. If you want me to do a video about why not only in LA is there such a issue with affordable housing, but just like in the US, I can definitely do that because it is very interesting and upsetting. But as a renter specifically, that number, whatever it is, can just be your base number. In terms of security deposits, that can range from 2 months worth of rent and up, or just a few $100s. Like I find that when you want to rent in larger complexes, like the one that I live in, the deposit tends to just be a few $100s, versus if you are renting like we have been considering renting like a house somewhere outside our current neighborhood, then that would cost 2 months rent as a deposit. So a house that's like $4,500 a month is then now you have to save up $9,000 just to move into a house. So the type of security deposit that you have to give is definitely a factor in where you're moving. I know it is for us, which is why we kind of stay where we are, but also parking. You're gonna hear me talk a lot about parking in this video because it is actually a main factor in every Angelino's daily life. Parking is a huge issue in LA because we are very car dependent. And some places that you may rent from may not include parking, may not either have parking or may not include parking in that rent. With my first place, like I mentioned, parking was included. So that was $1,000 all in. But if you live in a bigger apartment complex, chances are that not only will you have to pay extra for rent, but there will be tiers. Do you need a parking spot for 1 car or 2 cars? Do you want a tandem stall? Do you want a reserved stall instead of having to drive around to find whatever spot is open late at night? Do you want to just park in your own reserved spot? But what if you don't even get parking at your complex? Then you are at the mercy of street parking, or you have to find another paid parking lot. In fact, parking is so important in LA that there's major drama going on in Koreatown where some landlords are using tenant parking, taking that away from them, and turning that into ADUs. And the landlords or the management company that's managing these complexes are claiming that turning these parking spots at the bottom of I guess the community into ADUs is giving LA much needed affordable housing. I say that in quotes because is it going to be affordable? I don't know. But doing that is now forcing tenants to fight for street parking. Again, Koreatown is just awful for that. Which brings me to another point I want to talk about the cost of living in LA is not only is it going to cost you money, but it is also going to cost you time. In LA, you don't just pay in dollars, you pay in time. Those big parking signs that say $4, under it, it says every 15 minutes. The 20 minutes plus you might spend circling around around the neighborhood trying to find street parking, or maybe the hours that you spend sitting in traffic on the 405. I have actually been more active in trying to take public transportation everywhere. I think I'm just trying to support our city a little bit in a way. And when I take public transportation, it may be cheaper, but it definitely increases my commute time by double at least. So the real question then becomes, which I think is going to be the theme of this video, is that you need to decide which is more important to you in that moment. Is it saving time or is it saving money? I tend to always lean on the side of time, which I fully acknowledge is very privileged of me to do. So it's why I think finding a walkable neighborhood in LA is so important. There are those that exist, okay? I live in one. And there are times where I don't get in my car for weeks because everything I need, I can just walk to, which is so nice. Not only do I love a walkable neighborhood because I just don't like getting into a car, I don't like driving, I actually get very car sick easily, but I think that it also helps build a sense of community within those in the neighborhoods, not only people that live there, but the businesses as well. Because these are people that you see every single day. These are places that you walk past every single day. And it gives you a stake in what happens to the neighborhood that you live in. So all this to say that housing in LA is so much more than just rent. And again, the real question becomes, what is worth it to you? With all these hidden costs, I try to be super intentional with my spending. But one area I don't cut back is supporting small businesses. So I'd like to take this time to thank today's sponsor, Square. Living in LA is amazing, but as you can start to see, the hidden costs add up. You know, I like to be intentional with my spending, so when I can, I like to prioritize shopping local, which is actually pretty easy to do in my neighborhood because we don't have too many chains. Small businesses make my neighborhood and all neighborhoods feel like home. And what makes supporting them even better is how seamless the experience is. We've all seen Square before. I've tapped to pay at coffee shops, boutiques, Pilates studios, the farmers market, food trucks, they are everywhere. Checkout is quick, reliable, and accepts everything. Cards, tap to pay, Apple Pay, and even Cash App. Businesses can use Square at the counter or on the go, which keeps things moving in this busy city. Behind the scenes, Square gives small businesses powerful tools to help them stay organized. From tracking sales to managing inventory, it helps them know what's in stock, plan ahead, and helps them focus on customers instead of doing paperwork. My friend who owns a restaurant in Houston loves Square for that exact reason. It frees him to focus on serving people instead of running around doing daily tasks. As a customer, I love how quick and easy the process is. And for business owners, Square keeps everything running smoothly so they can focus on what they're passionate about, whether that's food, retail, fitness, or everything in between. If you're a small business owner, use the link in my description box to save up to $200 on Square hardware. And now let's get back to the video. Now it is a running joke where you just step outside and you spend $20. Even something as simple as meeting a friend for coffee will turn into paying for parking or gas, or maybe you're running late and have to pay for valet. Not only are you getting coffee, but maybe you're also getting a pastry. And since you are already outside, already in your car, you might as well go ahead and run other errands that you have to do so you don't have to go back to that neighborhood again later on in the week to run those errands, risking possibly wasting time in traffic. That's how my mind works, at least. Do you want to spend an expense-free day at the beach? Sounds amazing. That'll be $20 for parking. You're gonna also want to get some snacks at the grocery store, which everything at the grocery store is expensive now, so maybe that's like a minimum $10. And of course, there's the 50 minutes that you're gonna spend going from downtown LA to Santa Monica. Plus the 8 minutes is gonna take you to walk to the water because for some reason, the beaches in LA are very wide. I never understood that coming from Hawaii, why it's so difficult to get to the actual ocean. This past weekend, I actually had a very lovely night at Free Jazz Night at the LACMA. But that being said, I also spent $60 on a bottle of wine and bento boxes for my sister-in-law and I. So the city of LA constantly asks, What do you value spending your money on? In terms of the free jazz night I was just talking about, I do not mind spending money on a delicious bottle of Argentinian wine and some good food for my sister and I. But because of that, if I need to circle the neighborhood for a few minutes to find free street parking, I don't mind doing that, which I didn't have to. I got my street parking right away. It's all about balance. It is all about priorities, and that is something that LA is going to teach you quick. I think that's why I also have no problem saying no to things. No, I'm not gonna go. No, I'm not gonna drive to the west side to have dinner with you in rush hour. No, I just don't have money. No, thank you. I'll catch you next time. I have no problem saying stuff like that. Sometimes on TikTok, I'll do these vlogs about run errands with me, because sometimes it really does take, if you want to work smarter, not harder, anytime I jump in my car, I always have to map out where I gotta go in the city of LA and be like, is there something that I can do, somewhere I can go where I can run all of my errands while I'm out and then never have to leave my house again or get in the car for the rest of the week? So I don't know, I think it definitely teaches you efficiency. And finding that balance between cost and benefits of leaving your house is something that'll just become more and more clear the longer that you live in LA. A city this expensive can feel isolating. It's like just one giant sprawl of overpriced everything. When I first moved here, I remember telling someone, we were at a restaurant on La Brea, which is no longer there anymore. But I remember telling him how much I hated living in LA because it was so isolating. I had the hardest time finding my community, meeting new people, because you're always spending time in a car. I was also a very, very broke college student at the time, so I couldn't afford to do anything. So living here early on, I think especially if you are younger without the financial means to do whatever you want, can definitely affect your sense of community, access, and just a feeling of belonging. I have been in LA since 2010, and I actually feel now that I'm kind of reflecting on my time in LA for this video is I don't actually feel like I found my sense of true community until just a few years ago. All this rambling to say, I feel like this video might seem like it's all over the place, but we're tying it in. I promise, we're tying it all together. The hidden costs of LA aren't random annoyances. They are filters to your priorities, which, by the way, are priorities that are always changing. In my 20s, I enjoyed spending my money at the club for the club, because let me tell you, oh my gosh, I wish y'all could understand what it was like during the club era, because it was a vibe. I will always look back at my club era very fondly. But now I don't really want to spend my money going out unless it's like a good dinner. I just prefer to spend my money within my community. Whether it's taking a city bike to the free local library or making friends with your neighborhood sandwich guy who 4 years later names a sandwich after you. The best thing about LA is building your community. This video is actually not meant to discourage you from coming to LA. It might seem like that on surface, but it's really not. These are all things that, even though I'm very grateful that I was able to explore and figure out on my own, these are things that I wish more people told me about before I came to LA, because it really was just such a shock to me. This is just a reminder that every city, not just LA, but every city has its hidden costs. And growing up is just deciding which ones you're willing to pay for and which ones you're not. I'm Ajadang. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about anything I said in this video, from the housing crisis to LA neighborhoods, please let me know in the comment section, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.